The stars looked different from the observation deck of the Earth Defense Fleet flagship. Commander Adam Clark stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching as the massive Zorlath vessel approached the neutral space station. This meeting had been in the works for months. First contact with an advanced alien civilization, humanity's greatest moment. 5 minutes until docking, sir, said Lieutenant Olivia Martinez. She stood at her console, eyes focused on the translation software she had personally developed for this meeting. Adam nodded. Is the welcome team ready? Yes, sir. Dr. Miller has the gift prepared and Secretary Dawson has rehearsed the greeting speech 12 times. The space station orbited just beyond Jupiter's moons, a neutral location agreed upon by both species. Adam felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Earth, with its colonies on Mars and Europa, was finally reaching out to the stars in a meaningful way. Lieutenant, any unusual readings from the Zorlath ship? Adam asked, following standard protocol. Olivia frowned at her screen. Nothing alarming, but she paused, adjusting some settings. Their communication frequencies keep shifting in an odd pattern. It could be nothing. Keep an eye on it, Adam said. Probably just differences in our technologies. The Zorlath ship docked with surprising grace for its size. Adam straightened his uniform and led his team toward the meeting chamber. Secretary Dawson sweated visibly beside him. Relax, John, Adam said quietly. Just stick to the script. The airlock opened, revealing the Zorlath delegation. They stood nearly 7 feet tall, with iridescent blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the station lights. Their 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern, blinked independently as they observed the humans. The lead Zorlath stepped forward. We bring greetings from the Zorlath Dominion, it said through a translator device. I am Supreme Envoy Krelzak. Secretary Dawson delivered his speech perfectly, offering friendship and cooperation. The Zorlath listened, their expressions unreadable to human eyes. Over the next 6 hours, the 2 species exchanged information, established basic diplomatic protocols, and even shared a ceremonial meal, though the Zorlath merely absorbed nutrients through their skin. Olivia approached Adam during a brief recess. Sir, I need to speak with you privately. Once alone, she pulled up data on her tablet. Their transmissions don't match what they're telling us. I've detected encrypted signals being sent to multiple points in our solar system. Adam frowned. What kind of signals? I can't decrypt them, but the pattern suggests mapping data. Military mapping data. That's a serious accusation, Lieutenant. We can't risk insulting them based on a hunch. It's not a hunch, sir. Look at these patterns. She showed him the frequency analyses. Adam studied them briefly. Not conclusive. Keep monitoring, but don't mention this to anyone else. The last thing we need is panic. Olivia nodded stiffly. Yes, sir. The meeting concluded with the signing of a non-aggression treaty and promises of cultural exchange. The Earth delegation returned to their ship with a sense of accomplishment. Set course for Earth, Adam ordered. Let's bring the good news home. 3 weeks later, Adam was awakened by blaring alarms. He rushed to the bridge of his ship, now orbiting Earth. Report, he demanded. Massive energy signatures, sir, the officer replied, voice shaking. Hundreds of Zorlath ships just appeared near the moon. They're deploying weapons. Before Adam could respond, the first strikes hit Earth's orbital defenses. Space stations exploded in silent bursts of light. Defense satellites went dark. All ships, defensive positions, Adam ordered. Get me Earth command. But communications were already jammed. Through the view screen, Adam watched in horror as the Zorlath fleet positioned itself around Earth. His mind flashed back to Olivia's warning. Dr. Henry Powell watched through his laboratory window as Zorlath ships darkened the sky above Boston. His hands shook as he tried to establish contact with anyone who might answer. This is Dr. Henry Powell of Earth Science Institute. Does anyone copy? His voice echoed in the empty lab. His colleagues had fled hours ago when the first bombs fell. The radio crackled. Henry? Thank God. Lisa. Relief flooded through him. Captain Lisa Powell commanded the ESS Defiant, one of Earth's few remaining ships. Where are you? In orbit for now. We're evacuating civilians to the lunar shelter. His wife's voice sounded strained. The Zorlath have deployed ships over every major city. It's happening worldwide. Henry wiped sweat from his forehead. The president? The military? General Rivera is trying to organize a counterattack, but our weapons barely scratch their shields. A burst of static interrupted her. Henry, listen, if the Defiant falls, my backup data on the Zorlath biology samples is in our safe at home. The password is... The connection cut off as a massive explosion rocked the building. Henry stumbled, catching himself on a desk. Through the window, he saw a Zorlath ship directly overhead, its weapons charging again. Across the city, Kate Johnson pulled a young boy into a subway tunnel as buildings collapsed above them. The ex-Marine had been shopping when the attack began. Now she was leading a group of 30 terrified people underground. Stay close to the walls, she ordered, her military training taking over. We need to get deeper. A man in a business suit grabbed her arm. What's happening? Who are they? Aliens, Kate said simply. And they're not here to make friends. In Washington, D.C., what remained of the government gathered in a bunker. General. Frank Rivera slammed his fist on the table. We need to launch everything we have, now. The Secretary of Defense shook her head. The president wants to attempt communication first. They're bombing our cities, that's their communication, Frank shouted. Before anyone could respond, screens around the room lit up. A Zorlath face appeared, 4 eyes blinking independently, blue skin shimmering. People of Earth, the alien spoke in perfect English. I am High Commander Zextool. Your planet now belongs to the Zorlath Dominion. Surrender completely and we will allow some of you to live as labor. Resist, and we will. Eliminate your species entirely. The room fell silent. In orbit, Lisa Powell directed her ship toward a crowd of escape pods fleeing Earth. Get those civilians on board, she ordered. We can fit 200 more. Her tactical officer pointed at the radar. Captain 3 Zorlath. Fighters approaching. Evasive maneuvers, shields up. Lisa gripped her command chair. The Defiant shuddered as enemy fire struck its hull. Lisa watched the shield levels drop rapidly. Return fire. The human ship's weapons bounced harmlessly off the Zorlath vessels. Another hit rocked the ship, knocking crew members to the floor. Engine 3 is gone, someone shouted. Lisa made a split-second decision. Position us between those fighters and the escape pods. We'll buy them time. On the view screen, she could see Earth burning below. Back in the Washington bunker, the president stood. We will not surrender our world, she told the Zorlath commander, Zextools. Upper eyes narrowed. Then you will watch it burn. The transmission cut off. Seconds later, the bunker shook with a direct hit from above. Henry Powell grabbed essential research materials as his lab collapsed around him. He had to preserve what he knew about the Zorlath. It might be humanity's only hope. In space, the ESS Defiant exploded in a ball of fire. Its sacrifice allowed dozens of escape pods to reach the lunar shelter. Kate Johnson led her group deeper into the subway system, already planning how to fight back. They think we'll just roll over and die, she told a woman beside her. They don't know humans very well. As night fell, Earth's cities burned. Millions died in the first day alone. But in underground bunkers, subway tunnels, and hidden facilities, survivors began to gather. And on Mars Colony, Commander Adam Clark received the news of Earth's fall. With a burning resolve, the Zorlath thought they had won. They had no idea what they had started. She had been right. The first bombardment hit major military installations. Then came the second wave, targeting power grids and communication hubs. Earth was falling, and Adam Clark, who had led the diplomatic mission with such hope, could only watch as humanity's darkest hour began. The Zorlath had never wanted peace. They had only wanted to study their prey before the slaughter. 6 months had passed since the Zorlath invasion. The red dust of Mars swirled outside the dirty window of the bar where Adam Clark sat alone. He stared into his glass, the cheap alcohol burning his throat with each swallow. Commander Clark? Adam didn't look up. Not a commander anymore, there's no fleet left to command. A man pulled out the chair across from him. Sam Wright, I worked at the Europa research station before. His voice trailed off. Adam finally looked up. Sam was young, maybe 30, with dark circles under his eyes and hands that wouldn't stop moving. What do you want? Adam asked. Sam glanced around the crowded bar. Most patrons were refugees from Earth, drowning their sorrows like Adam. I got out with data. Important data. Sam leaned forward. About the Zorlath ships. Adam's glass stopped halfway to his mouth. What kind of data? Their navigation systems. They use a unique frequency pattern to communicate between ships. It's their weakness. Sam's eyes flashed with intensity. With the right equipment, we could disrupt entire fleets. For the first time in months, Adam felt something besides guilt and shame. Back on Earth, Dr. Henry Powell hauled rocks in a Zorlath mining camp outside what used to be Chicago. Aliens with shock prods supervised the human workers. Henry's hands were raw and bleeding, but his mind remained sharp. Each night, he secretly studied samples of Zorlath skin he had collected when they weren't looking. In his previous life as a xenobiologist, he had specialized in alien biology. Now that knowledge might save humanity. Move faster, human. A Zorlath guard shoved Henry, sending him sprawling. As he got up, he noticed something on the ground. A fungus growing on the rock he had been carrying. The guard who touched it was scratching at his blue skin furiously. Henry carefully pocketed a sample of the fungus. 50 miles away, Kate Johnson led her growing resistance group through abandoned sewer tunnels. What had started as 30 frightened civilians was now an organized force of 200. The supply raid was successful, reported Greg, her second in command. We got weapons from the police armory and enough food for 3 weeks. Kate nodded. Any news from other groups? Nothing from the West Coast team in 2 weeks. But we made contact with a group in Canada. Kate studied their crude map, marked with known Zorlath outposts and human resistance cells. We need better communication. These runners take too long and risk too much. Greg hesitated. There's something else. Europa colony has gone dark. The Zorlath destroyed it. Kate closed her eyes briefly. Another 1,000,000 humans gone. We hit the communication tower tomorrow, she decided. If we can't talk to each other, we can at least disrupt their network. On Mars, Adam and Sam found an empty storage room to talk privately. Show me everything, Adam said. Sam pulled out a small device and projected schematics of Zorlath ships. Their navigation relies on quantum entanglement, but the control systems use standard frequencies. Sam pointed to specific areas. Here and here, these are vulnerable. Disrupt these and their ships can't coordinate. What do you need to build a disruptor? Adam asked. Sam smiled. That's the best part. The mining ships on Mars use similar frequency bands for deep rock scanning. We can modify one. For the first time in months, Adam felt hope stir in his chest. I need a ship and a crew. He thought for a moment. Do you know Diane Rodriguez? Ex-Special Forces, came here after the invasion. The woman who took out 3 Zorlath guards with her bare hands, everyone knows her. Adam nodded. We'll need her. And a pilot. Jack Nelson survived the Europa evacuation, Sam suggested. Best pilot I've ever seen. What about weapons? Adam asked. Maria Chen was weapons officer on the ESS DeFi 2 years after the invasion. Adam Clark stood in the hangar of an abandoned mining facility on Mars. Before him sat a modified mining vessel, once used to haul ore from the asteroid belt, now retrofitted, with makeshift weapons and stealth technology. She's not pretty, but she'll fly, said Jack Nelson, running his hand along the ship's hull. The pilot had lost his family during the Europa colony destruction, and revenge burned in his eyes. What? Are we calling her? Asked Diane Rodriguez. The ex-Special Forces soldier checked her weapons for the 5th time that day. Adam looked at the ship, its metal plates mismatched but sturdy. Vengeance. Sam Wright emerged from inside the ship, his hands covered in grease. The frequency disruptor is installed. Should work against their navigation systems, but we'll only know for sure when we try it. Maria Chen, former weapons officer, joined them. Weapon systems are at 80%. Not military grade, but they'll cause damage. Adam nodded. We leave tomorrow. First target is the Zorleth outpost on Ganymede. It's small, lightly defended. A good test run. On Earth, Henry Powell worked under the hot sun harvesting crops for his Zorlath masters. His scientific background made him valuable even as a slave. The aliens had put him in charge of improving food production. They didn't know he had been cultivating the fungus he discovered, the one that caused severe reactions in Zorlath biology. Henry had confirmed it through careful observation. The fungus attacked Zorlath skin, causing respiratory failure within days. Powell, whispered a worker beside him. Someone wants to meet you. Tonight. Henry kept his face neutral. Where? Storage shed 3. Midnight. That night, Henry slipped out of his barracks. The Zorlath guarded the labor camps poorly, confident in their control. He reached the storage shed and found a woman waiting. Dr. Powell, I'm Liz. I work with Kate Johnson's resistance. Henry's heart raced. You've made contact with other groups? Liz nodded. We have a network now. 17 resistance cells across North America, more in Europe and Asia. I have something that can help, Henry said, showing her a vial of fungal spores. This is deadly to the Zorlath, spreads through air, doesn't affect humans. Liz's eyes widened. Can you make more? With the right equipment? Enough to hit every Zorlath base on Earth. In his command center, High Commander Zexatul received troubling reports. Human resistance was growing. 3 supply depots had been raided in the past week. A communication relay had been destroyed. They are primitive creatures, he told his officers. Increase punishment for any sector where resistance occurs. Kill 10 humans for every Zorlath injured. A subordinate approached cautiously. High Commander, our outpost on Europa's moon has detected an unidentified vessel approaching Ganymede. Human, Zexatul asked. Unknown. It does not match known human signatures. Send a patrol to investigate, Zexatul ordered. And double the guard on all outposts. On the Vengeance, Adam briefed his team as they approached Ganymede. Sam's disruptor should make us invisible to their sensors. We dock, gather intelligence, and leave. No unnecessary risks. Diane checked her assault rifle. And if we encounter resistance? We deal with it quietly, Adam replied. This is about intelligence gathering, not a firefight. Jack guided the ship toward Ganymede, skillfully navigating Jupiter's radiation belts. Approaching Zorlath outpost, disruptor activated, Sam monitored his equipment. Frequency disruptor working, their system should show only background noise. The ship slipped closer to the small Zorlath base built into Ganymede's rocky surface. No reaction, Maria reported. They don't see us. Adam felt the first real hope in 2 years. If the disruptor worked, they had a genuine advantage. Prepare for docking, he ordered. Diane, Maria, you're with me. Sam, Jack, keep the ship ready for immediate departure. As they suited up for the mission, Adam looked at his small team. Once he had commanded a fleet. Now he led 4 people in a stolen mining ship. But for the first time since the invasion, humanity was taking the fight to the enemy. On Earth, Kate Johnson studied the map of Zorlath installations. If Henry's fungal weapon worked, they could strike all bases simultaneously. The aliens would never expect humans to coordinate globally after 2 years of hell. The tide was about to turn. And she made it to Mars last month. Adam stood up, his decision made. Find them, all of them, tell them. He paused, finding his voice. Tell them it's time to hit back. As night fell on Earth, Henry Powell examined the fungus under a makeshift microscope in his barracks. The Zorlath guard who had touched it was now in their medical facility. The alien invaders had a weakness after all, and humans were about to discover it. The Vengeance approached Ganymede silently, its engines barely visible against the darkness of space. Inside, Adam checked his oxygen levels one last time. Remember, we get in, gather intel, and get out, he told Diane and Maria as they prepared to leave the ship. No heroes today. Sam monitored his equipment. Disruptor is working perfectly. Their sensors show nothing but empty space. Adam, Diane, and Maria exited through the airlock and moved across Ganymede's surface toward the Zorlath outpost. The low gravity made each step feel like floating. Entrance ahead. Diane whispered over the comm. She pointed to a metal door built into the rocky surface. Maria approached with a device Sam had built. This should override their security. The door slid open silently. Inside, the air was thicker, adjusted for Zorlath biology. The team moved through blue-tinted corridors, avoiding the few guards on duty. Command center should be 2 levels. Down, Adam said, consulting the map they had created from orbital scans. They found an access shaft and descended. The Zorlath outpost was larger underneath the surface than it appeared. As they reached the lower level, voices echoed from a nearby room. The alien language was harsh and clicking. "Wait here," Diane said. She moved silently toward the sound, then motioned for the others to follow. "Look." Through a window in the door, they saw 5 Zorlath gathered around a table. On the table lay a human body cut open for study. "They're experimenting on us," Maria whispered, her voice tight with anger. Adam forced himself to stay calm. "The command center first. We stick to the mission." They found the center unguarded. While Diane kept watch, Adam and Maria downloaded the Zorlath data from the main computer. "This is bigger than we thought," Maria said as she scanned the files. "Ship movements, troop deployments, and something else." She paused, her face paling. "There's a list of human processing centers. One is on Earth's moon." "Processing centers?" Adam asked. "They're using humans for biological experiments," Maria explained, "testing compatibility with their own DNA." She stared at the screen. "My God, Adam, my parents might be alive. There's a list of test subjects. I recognize some names from Earth." A sudden alarm blared through the outpost. Red lights flashed in the corridor. "They've detected the download," Adam shouted. "Time to go." They ran toward the exit, but Zorlath guards blocked their path. Diane fired first, her rifle cutting down 2 aliens. "This way," she shouted, pointing to a side corridor. They fought. Their way back to the surface, Zorlath forces closing in behind them. As they reached the airlock, a guard appeared and fired. Jack's voice came over the comm. "I see you. The ship is ready for immediate departure." The team sprinted across the surface toward the Vengeance. Zorlath weapons fired around them, kicking up ice and rock. Jack brought the ship closer, risking detection to save his team. As they reached the airlock, a blast hit Jack's station inside the ship. The pilot screamed in pain but kept the ship steady. Once inside, Adam shouted, "Go! Full thrust!" The Vengeance pulled away from Ganymede as Zorlath ships launched in pursuit. "Disruptor." "At maximum," Sam called, pushing his device beyond its limits. The pursuing ships hesitated, their navigation systems confused by the disruptor. The Vengeance escaped into Jupiter's shadow. On Earth, Kate Johnson led her team through the night toward a major Zorlath base. Each person carried a canister of Henry's fungal weapon. "Remember, open the canisters near air intake vents," Kate instructed. "The spores will do the rest." Similar teams moved on Zorlath bases worldwide, coordinated for the first time through captured alien communication devices. In his slave quarters, Henry Powell received word that the attack had begun. He watched the clock counting down to humanity's first coordinated strike. The Vengeance docked at the hidden Titan outpost with damage to its hull. They had escaped Ganymede, but at a cost. Jack lay in the medical bay, his breathing shallow. The Zorlath weapon had burned through his suit and into his chest. "Will he make it?" Adam asked the doctor. "Too early to tell," she replied. "The burns are severe." Adam left the medical bay and found a woman waiting for him in the corridor. She wore the uniform of an Earth Science Division officer, though it was worn and patched in several places. "Commander Clark, I'm Dr. Laura Peterson. Welcome to Titan Base." Adam followed her through metal corridors carved into Titan's icy crust. The base was larger than he expected. At least 300 people worked at stations or hurried through hallways. "We thought we were the only ones left beyond Earth," Adam said. Laura shook her head. "When the invasion began, we shut down all transmissions. The Zorlath think this moon is uninhabited." She led him to a conference room where Sam, Diane, and Maria were waiting with several Titan officers. Your team brought us valuable intelligence, Laura said, activating a holographic display of the stolen Zorlath data. We've identified their command ship, here, in orbit around Venus. Sam studied the display. Their fleet formations all center around it. If we could take it out, the Zorlath would lose coordination, Diane finished. Adam pointed to Venus on the map. How many ships do you have? 17, Laura answered. Modified science vessels mostly, but we've been building weapons. On Earth, the biological weapon had changed everything. The fungal spores spread through Zorlath bases like wildfire. Aliens died by the thousands, their blue skin turning black as the fungus attacked their respiratory systems. Kate Johnson watched. From a hillside, as Zorlath troops abandoned a major base in what used to be Seattle. They're running, Greg said beside her. Kate raised her binoculars. Not running. Regrouping. They're pulling back to their main strongholds. The resistance had grown beyond her wildest hopes. What started as 30 people in a subway tunnel was now an army thousands strong, with cells in every region. Message from Eastern Command, a radio operator called. New York base has fallen. Resistance forces control the city. Cheers erupted around her. Kate allowed herself a small smile. For the first time in years, humans were winning battles. In a captured Zorlath facility, Henry Powell worked with other scientists to improve the fungal weapon. The aliens had tried to develop a counteragent, but time was working against them. We've modified the spores to survive in space, Henry told Kate over a secure channel. Your people can deploy them against their ships now. Good work, Kate replied. We've received word from off-world. There's a human base on Titan. They're planning something big. Henry thought of his wife lost during the initial invasion. Any word from Mars colony? Better, Kate said. A ship from Mars called Vengeance has joined forces with Titan. They're planning to strike the Zorlath command ship. High Commander Zextel watched his empire crumble. Reports came from all sectors: bases lost, ships disabled, troops dying from an airborne pathogen. The reinforcements from Homeworld? He asked his second-in-command. 2 weeks away, High Commander. Zextel slammed his fist on the console. These humans were supposed to be easy prey. How did they develop weapons so quickly? They are more adaptable than we anticipated, his officer replied. And more coordinated. Our intelligence suggests a large-scale attack is imminent. Back on Titan, Jack Nelson woke in the medical bay. His chest was bandaged, but he was alive. Did we make it? He asked when Adam visited. We made it, and we found friends. Adam sat beside the bed. How soon can you fly? Jack grinned through his pain. Give me 2 days. You found us a target? The biggest one. Their command ship. Adam showed him the plans. 20 ships, including the Vengeance. Laura's scientists have adapted Sam's disruptor technology to work across the fleet. A real attack force, Jack said with approval. We strike in 1 week, Adam told him, coordinated with the ground forces on Earth. For the first time since the invasion, humanity was not just resisting, they were taking the offensive. The Zorlath were about to learn a painful lesson about underestimating humans. Inside the Zorlath base, guards suddenly began coughing, their blue skin developing dark patches. Within hours, dozens lay dead or dying. On his command ship, High Commander Zextel received alarming reports. Bases worldwide reported mysterious illnesses, and a small human ship had infiltrated the Ganymede outpost, stealing crucial data. Increase security on all facilities, he ordered, and increase punishment for the humans. They must learn the cost of defiance. What Zextel didn't understand was that humans had nothing left to lose. And now they had hope. 20 human ships gathered in the shadow of Saturn's rings. The fleet looked small and mismatched against the vastness of space. Mining vessels turned warships, science craft with added weapons, and in the lead, the Vengeance. Adam Clark stood on the bridge, looking at the faces of his crew. Jack was at the helm, still recovering but determined to fly. Sam worked at his station, making final adjustments to the frequency disruptor. Maria and Diane checked weapon systems. All ships report ready, said the communications officer. Adam opened a channel to the fleet. This is Commander Clark. For 3 years, the Zorleth have occupied our world and slaughtered our people. Today, we show them that humans do not go quietly. Today, we take back our future. The ships moved into formation and accelerated toward Venus, where the massive Zorleth command ship orbited. It was the size of a small city, surrounded by a protective fleet of smaller vessels. Disruptor at full power, Sam reported as they approached. Targeting their entire defense network. Activate, Adam ordered. A wave of invisible energy pulsed outward from the human fleet. On the Zorlath ships, navigation systems suddenly went dark. Defense grids failed. Communication between vessels cut off. All ships, attack pattern Omega, Adam commanded. The human fleet split into 3 groups attacking from different angles. Zorlath fighters scrambled to respond, but without their navigation systems, many collided with each other. The human ships, though smaller and less advanced, maintained perfect coordination. On Earth, Kate Johnson's forces launched their largest assault. 10,000 fighters worldwide struck Zorlath strongholds simultaneously. The aliens were already, weakened by the fungal weapon, their numbers reduced by half. Forward, Kate shouted as they stormed the main Zorlath base in North America. Resistance fighters poured through the defenses, overwhelming the confused guards. Henry Powell led a special team toward the communication center. We need to reach that transmitter, he told his squad. It's the most powerful on Earth. If we can broadcast Sam's disruptor frequency globally, every Zorlath ship on the planet will be crippled. They fought their way through the corridors, losing 3 people before reaching the center. Henry connected a device to the alien computer system. Uploading now, he said as his fingers flew across the keyboard. This will amplify the disruptor frequency 1,000-fold. In space, the battle raged around the command ship. Several human vessels had been destroyed, but the Vengeance pressed forward. We're in range for boarding, Jack announced. Adam nodded to Diane and Maria. This is it. Sam, you have the bridge. The 3 of them boarded a small shuttle and launched toward the command ship. Zorlath defenses were still active enough to fire sporadically. A blast clipped their shuttle, sending it spinning toward the massive vessel. Brace for impact, Adam shouted as they crashed into the hull. They forced open the damaged airlock and entered the command ship. Zorlath soldiers immediately attacked. Diane moved with deadly precision, her military training evident in every shot. We need to reach the central chamber, Adam said, checking the map Maria had pulled from the stolen data. They fought through level after level. The Zorlath, despite their confusion, defended their command ship fiercely. There, Maria pointed, to a massive door ahead. That's the bridge. As they approached, a group of elite Zorlath guards emerged. In the firefight that followed, Diane pushed Adam aside as a blast came toward him. The shot struck her chest. Go, she whispered as she fell. Finish it. Adam and Maria continued forward, grief adding fuel to their determination. They breached the bridge and came face to face with High Commander Zextol himself. You fight well for prey, the Zorlath leader said, his 4 eyes narrowing. But you cannot defeat the Dominion. Adam lunged past Zextol toward the control panel. The Zorlath commander realized Adam's intention too late. Adam slammed his hand onto the self-destruct sequence and locked it with a code. What have you done? Zextol roared, his 4 eyes widening in shock. Given humanity a chance, Adam replied. Warning lights flashed across the bridge as a computerized voice announced the self-destruct countdown. Zextol attacked in fury. Adam defended himself, but the alien was stronger. A powerful blow sent Adam crashing to the floor. As Zextol moved in for the kill, a shot rang out. The commander staggered, blue blood seeping from his chest. Maria stood leaning against a console, her weapon still aimed. That's for Earth, she said. Adam scrambled to his feet and helped Maria toward the exit. We have 10 minutes to get off this ship. They moved as quickly as Maria's injury allowed, passing Diane's body on the way. Adam paused only long enough to close her eyes. We'll remember you, he promised quietly. Throughout the command ship, Zorlath soldiers rushed to evacuation pods. The human fleet continued its attack, destroying the escaping vessels one by one. Adam and Maria reached their damaged shuttle. It wouldn't fly, but the communication system still worked. Vengeance, this is Clark. We need immediate extraction. Command ship set to detonate in 7 minutes. Sam's voice crackled back. Sending Jack with a rescue shuttle now, hold tight. As they waited, the massive ship shuddered around them. Adam watched through a viewport as the human fleet pressed, its advantage destroying Zorlath ships that were now operating without coordination. Jack arrived with barely 3 minutes to spare. They boarded quickly and pulled away from the doomed command ship. Get us clear, Adam ordered. Jack pushed the shuttle to its limits. Behind them, the Zorlath command vessel exploded in a blinding flash. The shockwave caught them, spinning the shuttle violently, but Jack managed to maintain control. When they returned to the Vengeance, cheers greeted them. The destruction of the command ship had thrown the remaining Zorlath forces into chaos. On Earth, the news spread quickly. The global broadcast of the disruptor frequency had disabled every Zorlath ship and communication system on the planet. Without coordination, the alien forces crumbled before the human assault. Kate Johnson stood in what had been the Zorlath main base, now under human control. We've won, she told her fighters as reports came in from around the world. The invaders are retreating. Henry Powell watched as the remaining Zorlath ships fled Earth's atmosphere, pursued by resistance fighters and captured alien vessels. 6 months later, Adam Clark stood in a newly built hall in what had once been Geneva. Representatives from all surviving human communities had gathered to form a united government. Admiral Clark, said a voice behind him. Adam turned to see Maria, now recovered from her wounds. The fleet is assembled. Adam nodded. Is the jump drive ready? Sam says it's stable. We can reach the Zorlath homeworld in 2 weeks. Outside, a monument had been erected to those lost in the invasion. Names covered its surface. Billions who had died when the Zorlath came. At its base, fresh flowers honored those who had given their lives in the liberation, including Diane Rodriguez. Adam walked to the podium to address the gathered fleet crews. Human ships of all sizes filled the sky above, some built from scratch, others modified from captured Zorlath vessels. At their center was the Vengeance, now flagship of humanity's armada. 3 years ago, aliens came to our world, Adam began. They thought we were weak. They thought we would surrender. They thought humans wouldn't strike back. He paused, looking at the determined faces before him. They were wrong. We fought back from the brink of extinction. We reclaimed our world. But our work isn't finished. The Zorlath must learn that attacking Earth carries consequences. Today we take the fight to their doorstep. Cheers erupted from the crowd. On ships throughout the fleet, crews prepared for the jump to Zorlath space. The hunters had become the hunted. As the fleet rose into the sky, a simple plaque was unveiled on the monument. It read, "They thought humans wouldn't strike back. Then vengeance came from the stars." "Watch us," Maria snarled, firing at the commander. Zextul dodged with surprising speed and struck Maria with a powerful blow, sending her crashing into a control panel. Blood flowed from a gash in her side. Adam found himself alone, facing the creature responsible for Earth's destruction. As Zextul approached, Adam spotted the ship's self-destruct controls behind the commander. "Your species is finished," Zextul said. Adam smiled grimly. "No, yours is." He lunged, not at the commander, but toward the controls behind him.